All Quiet on the Western Front by Erich Maria Remarque. The air smells of mud, cordite, and fear. I am Paul Bäumer, 19 years old, crouched in a trench somewhere on the Western Front, where the earth itself seems to bleed. The year is 1917, and the war has swallowed my youth, my dreams, and my friends. I grip my rifle, its wood worn smooth by my hands, and listen to the distant rumble of artillery. The world is reduced to this, a strip of churned earth, barbed wire, and the constant threat of death. It wasn't always like this. 2 years ago, I sat in a classroom in Germany, scribbling notes, dreaming of poetry and music. My schoolmaster, Erich, filled our heads with tales of glory, urging us to enlist for the fatherland. "You are the iron youth," he said, his eyes gleaming with patriotic fervor. So we went. Me, Albert Kropp, Müller, Lear, High Westhus, Stanislaus Kaczynski, and others from our class. We were boys, barely men, eager to serve. Now, most of us are gone, and those who remain are strangers to ourselves. The trench is my home now, a jagged scar in the earth where we huddle against shellfire and hunger. Kat, my closest friend, is nearby, sharpening a knife. At 40, he's an old man by trench standards, with a nose for sniffing out food and danger. "Paul," he says, tossing me a crust of bread. "Eat, you'll need it." I nod, chewing mechanically. Food is scarce, but Kat always finds something. A loaf, a sausage, even a goose once, roasted over a stolen fire. His cunning keeps us alive. We're second company, or what's left of it. Once 150 strong, we're down to 80 men. The others, dead, wounded, or lost to madness. Himmelstoss, our old drill sergeant, is here too, cowering in the dugout. Back in training, he tormented us with pointless drills, barking orders like a petty tyrant. Now, in the trenches, he's just another scared man. His authority meaningless against the scream of shells. The front is chaos. Shells burst overhead, spraying shrapnel. Gas clouds drift, forcing us to fumble for masks. The new recruits, barely trained, arrive wide-eyed and die quickly. One boy, barely 16, panics during a bombardment and soils himself. I try to comfort him, but his eyes are blank, his mind already breaking. I remember my own first days here, the terror of realizing that no training could prepare you for this. The war doesn't care about courage or ideals. It's a machine, grinding us into the mud. Kropp, the sharpest thinker among us, sits beside me, muttering about the war's absurdity. "Why are we even fighting?" he asks. "The French want their land, we want ours. Who gains?" I have no answer. Müller dreams of peacetime, of school exams and girls, but his voice is hollow. We all know the truth. The war has stolen our futures. Lear, who loved literature as much as I did, stares at the sky, saying nothing. Hi, the giant peat digger, jokes about going back to his old job, but his laughter is forced. We're all pretending, clinging to scraps of who we were. A bombardment hits, and we dive into the dugout. The earth shakes, dirt rains down, and the air is thick with smoke. A shell lands close, and I hear a scream, a recruit, his leg torn off. I crawl to him, but he's gone before I can help. Death is routine here, yet each one chips away at me. I think of Erich, my old friend, who died early in the war. His boots, fine leather ones, passed to Müller after his death. Now Müller's dead too, and the boots are on someone else's feet. The war recycles everything, even grief. On quiet days, we talk of home, but it feels distant, like a dream. I went on leave once, back to my small German town. My mother, frail and worried, cooked my favorite meals, but I couldn't eat. My room, filled with books and boyhood relics, felt foreign. Civilians asked about the war, their eyes hungry for heroics. I couldn't tell them the truth about the mud, the rats, the bodies torn apart. They wouldn't understand. I returned to the front early, unable to bear their ignorance. Here, at least, we share the same horror. Kat and I go on a night patrol, scavenging for food. We slip through no man's land, past craters and barbed wire, our hearts pounding. A flare lights the sky, and we freeze, faces pressed into the dirt. The enemy is close. French soldiers, just like us, cold and hungry. I wonder if they, too, were tricked into this war by men like Erich. We find a supply dump, grab some tins of beef, and crawl back. Cat grins, his teeth flashing in the dark. Not bad, eh, Paul? I smile, but it's fleeting. Even these small victories feel empty. The front grows worse. A new offensive brings waves of shells and machine gun fire. Haya is hit, his lungs pierced by shrapnel. He dies, gasping, his huge frame crumpled like a child's. I hold his hand, but there's nothing to say. The company shrinks further. 50 men now. Himmelstas tries to redeem himself, charging into battle with reckless bravery, but it's too late. We've seen his fear, and respect is hard to regain. One night, I'm trapped in a shell hole during a retreat. A French soldier stumbles in, and I stab him in a panic. My knife sinking into his chest. He doesn't die at once. He gurgles, his eyes pleading, and I'm forced to watch. His name is Gerard Duval, a printer, with a wife and child. I find his wallet, his letters. For the first time, I see the enemy as a man, not a shadow. I whisper apologies, promising to write to his family, but I know I won't. Guilt chokes me, but survival pulls me back to the trench. The war grinds on. Lear dies, his hip shattered by a shell. Krop takes shrapnel in the leg, and we're sent to a field hospital together. I'm wounded too, a minor hit, but enough to get me off the front. In the hospital, the nuns pray, and the wounded scream. Krop's leg is amputated, and his spirit breaks. I'll never be whole again, he says, his voice flat. He dies soon after, not from the wound, but from despair. I'm alone now, the last of my class, back at the front. Cat is all I have left. We share a cigarette, talking of simple things. Fields, rivers, peace. Then a stray shell hits, and Cat falls. A shard of metal in his shin. I carry him to the aid station, his weight heavy, but familiar. He's quiet, too quiet. When I reach the medics, they shake their heads. Cat is dead. A second splinter in his head I didn't see. I collapse, empty. The war has taken everything. It's October 1918 now, and the front is strangely quiet. Rumors of peace float like ghosts, but I don't believe them. I've forgotten how to hope. Second company is down to 32 men. I sit in a trench, writing in my journal, trying to make sense of it all. The war has stripped me bare, left me a shell of a man. I think of my mother, my books, the boy I was. They're gone, buried in this mud. On a calm day, they say the war is nearly over. I stand in the trench, breathing the crisp autumn air. A bullet finds me, quick and clean. I fall, my rifle slipping from my hands. The sky is clear, the front silent. They call it a quiet day, as if such a thing exists. I am Paul Bäumer, and I am no more. The report comes later. All quiet on the Western Front. A single casualty, a boy named Paul, dead on a day when nothing happened. The war ends weeks later, but for Paul and his comrades, it's too late. The Iron Youth are gone, their dreams crushed under the weight of a war that spared no one.